people that have been through some stuff in their life feel like they can't walk in a church because I'm going to be judged. People are going to look at me weird. But if they find a mirror, they're going to look at themselves weird too, right? So I think it's all about starting with a mindset on both fronts of saying, look, people are people. We all have issues. We need to work together.
Right. Thank you, Pastor Chester with First Baptist Church Shepherd, for joining us today at Heaven's Army Boutique podcast. What we want to do is see how Heaven's Army can work together with the church. We're here in the community to not just be a coffee shop and resale, but really here to promote the gospel, to work together to bring the light into a dark area. And so how do you see us coming along beside you and your church, your people, and being a benefit and help?
Well, let me start by saying I'm excited that y'all are in Shepherd, Texas, because it's a small community, but I'm glad you're here. Yes. I know we talked about you coming here, and so I'm glad that the ministry has expanded to Shepherd. Like everywhere, there's a lot of darkness everywhere, and so to be a light is amazing. Yeah. And so with our church community, how you guys can partner with us is really being the light, which I know sounds churchy, but that's exactly what it is, because we go out, and I try to talk at the church about getting outside the walls. The church has left the building kind of mentality, because we're the church, not the building, right? Right. So as we go and do that, to have someone else to partner with to be the light is amazing. Mm-hmm. So whether you guys host events or, like you're open for coffee and just worship and hanging out, some people need that. Some people just need somewhere to go to have somebody they can talk to.
Do you think it's an opportunity for those that are inside your church that you minister to on a regular basis to step out and step into their own ministry of getting outside their comfort zone of just being inside the church, but also coming into a place of giving them a small area of ministering and not being on a platform, just being in a comfortable place? As much as it's uncomfortable sitting here doing a podcast, we know, but how uncomfortable it is for somebody that's never spoke at all to then come in and think, oh, well, he's wanting me to go share my faith, but it's just simple to sit down at a table and have a cup of coffee and share.
It's a more relaxed environment than a church may be. Yes. Because people think of church, they think show up, sit in a pew, listen to a preacher preach, and go home. Right. When if you're part of a church, it's so much more than that. But outside looking in, that's what it looks like. But in this kind of situation, I think of the show Friends from the 90s. Right. All those friends hung out together. They had apartments. They hung out in the apartments, but where were they mostly?
At the coffee shop.
At the coffee shop. And there's a reason for that, because it's more relaxed. It's comfortable. It's not in anybody's homes. It's not in a church. You're hanging out together. You're getting to know one another, talking about real life issues. And I think this gives the opportunity to have a place for people to do that. Well, there's so many people that have a stigma about church. Maybe they grew up in church and went away from it when they got older, or maybe the church has burned them somehow. Somebody at church hurt their feelings and they don't want to step back in a church again. And places like this give an opportunity to host Bible studies or have a worship night or something that's outside the walls of the church that tells them, the church is more than a building. It's people. And getting to know people can be a massive thing, especially in a small town like this. So as word gets out, hey, over at the boutique, they're doing this or they're doing this, and they're partnering with local churches to have events, it may bring people out and they may be able to see the gospel where they wouldn't normally be able to see it because they're not going to church. Now, people like that may check out churches online. They're going to look at YouTube videos of preachers sometimes. Maybe they want to follow Christ, but they don't want to walk back into church because they've been hurt. This would give them an opportunity to meet with people outside of that.
We have seen since we've been here just the hunger for this community, the hunger this community has for something new, and not a store or anything. It was I feel like it was the Lord, because we've had them come in and shopping, and then hearing us sit at a table and sharing our faith, and then just sit down and start talking with us or break out in praise and worship. It's been really amazing. So I believe the community is ripe and ready for the harvest of what I believe the partnerships of what you're doing in your heart of being here. And I know when I met with you before we opened the boutique, of meeting with you going, why is God calling me to Shepherd? I wasn't looking to come to Shepherd.
Right.
I'm in a different area, but I knew that there was something here. And you said, your heart, why did God call you out of where you were at, comfortable in your home, you know, I think 5-bedroom house with a pool, and living where you were living, to a parsonage and Shepherd. And why I believe he's calling this to the people here, to this community. And, you know, what does that look like? I believe he's got something different for us to do.
You hit on a hard question there. Why does God, and fill in the blank, right?
Yeah.
We may never know, but we can see the fruit of what he's doing.
Yes.
And I think having a place like this is almost fast-tracking realism with people. As in, when they come to a church, they hear a preacher preach. You don't know the guy. You walked in, never met him. You've heard him preach. End of that story. You've been there with him under that roof. You know nothing about him. But if they come in here for a few minutes, they get to sit with somebody, have some coffee, do a little shopping, do a little talking. Within 20 minutes, they know somebody a lot more than they ever have at church, right? So I think it's a good opportunity to get to know people on a more of a fast track, and which makes discipleship happen a little bit quicker.